Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's KD from Socratic Canine. I'm here with some Q&A for you. So, in addition to all the emails and messages I get, I also do a lot of time in some Facebook groups. I get a lot of questions there, I get tagged, and I wanted to share with you all one of the questions I recently got. So, this question comes from Ashlee. Ashlee asks, I am worried about my baby. All of a sudden, I think she's gotten anxiety. She shakes and whines all the time unless I'm holding her or petting her. What should I do to help? Now, whenever I get a question like that or a situation like that, before I even start making suggestions, I always ask a follow-up question. Even though I got a really good hunch as to what the problem is and why it's happening and what to do to make it better, I want the owner or the person asking the question to have to go through a little bit of a process of reflecting on some really important things. Not only does it give me a little bit more insight and more information, but it also helps us get to the solution or help the owner get to the solution. So I typically respond by saying the following. Paint the picture of a typical day in the life of your dog. Also, please describe how you react or respond when she does this. And Ashlee responded with, we take her outside to use the bathroom and run around in the morning. We have an enclosed backyard, so she's never tied up. I feed her twice a day and take her for a walk and take her for car rides. But now she whines when I take her out. Other than that, she stays close to me and cuddles a lot. Okay. So first off, listen, Ashlee, thank you very much for asking your question, because it's not only going to help you, but it's going to help a lot of other people when I explain the solution and what's going on here. It's obvious you love your dog, otherwise you wouldn't be asking a question on a public forum and putting yourself out there, and I commend you for that. So now let's talk about the situation. So we got a dog who is whining a lot whenever they're not directly engaging physically with the owner. Well, what that dog is saying is that they got a whole lot of mental energy and insecurity, and they don't know how to deal with either one. Now, when we look at what's going on with the dog's daily routine, Ashlee, I can say this with confidence. Your dog needs more structure and mental stimulation. Simply hanging out in the yard isn't enough. And I do find a lot of times people that do have fenced-in backyards kind of get lulled into a false sense of security that all they have to do is let the dog hang out and that's enough. It's not. The dog needs to have all kinds of problem-solving activities set up for it through the day, along with structure, a routine. And really, really, really important is going to be leadership and guidance. So what's happening is the dog has this extra energy, the dog is displaying some codependency issues, and then what you're doing is actually making it worse. I understand. We are programmed to want to give affection and cuddles to solve problems. But the reality is, cuddles and affection have never solved a problem like this. What you're doing is, you're actually rewarding the dog for this behavior. The dog is expressing a need or a desire by way of whining and being clingy. And then you give it affection. I mean, you're paying the dog for doing it. So, two things we need to think about here. We need to think about why the dog is doing it, and we need to think about what we can do in the meantime when the dog does it. Let's start out with the why. You need to implement way more mental stimulation for your dog. You didn't say a word about training sessions. That's a problem. Training isn't just about having control over your dog, although that's a massive part. It's also about providing them with appropriate problems that they have to solve. That problem-solving process does wonders for their state of mind. And when you do it properly and appropriately with the guidance of a professional or someone with the right experience, you're also going to build the dog's confidence. You're also going to help them be more independent, be more confident, and not be whiny and clingy all the time. It actually results in a happier, more balanced dog. You know, some people are like, oh, training, I don't want to be controlling over my dog. Well, guess what? The dog actually wants it. The dog actually will do better with it. As far as the feeding, stop the 2 feedings a day. Stop. Take the daily food ration, measure it out in the morning, feed that food ration throughout the day during some training sessions. It'll do wonders for the dog's mind, it'll do wonders for the dog's mental energy level, and you will start providing that fulfillment that the dog really needs. It doesn't need affection. The dog doesn't need any more affection. If anything, the dog has gotten too much affection at the wrong times, which is where we get to, well, what do we do while the dog is whining? Well, for one, ignoring is a really good start, because when you start cuddling and giving affection during that time, what happens? The dog learns that's how it gets what it wants in that moment. So we really got to think about the life that we provide for our dog and making sure it actually meets the needs of that specific species, of that specific dog. I believe this is a Pit Bull Terrier mix. And I mean, guys, those dogs, they got a lot of mental energy. They're ready to go. And when we see these type of behaviors, it usually means that mental energy, it does not have a functional or appropriate outlet. And that's why we're seeing all these other issues usually. Ashlee, start rethinking your dog's daily routine. Start thinking about how you could incorporate some training. If you need some help with that, that's what I do. Shoot me a message. Also, while the dog is doing this, whatever you do, don't give it cuddles and kisses. Whatever you do, don't give it affection. Don't engage the dog while this behavior is going on. Otherwise, you're just going to make it worse. The behavior is going to get stronger. It's going to increase in frequency. And we don't want that. We want this dog to build up their confidence. We want this dog to not be so clingy. Still give you lots of attention, but give you attention in an appropriate way in exchange for some appropriate interaction. All right, guys, that's the deal. If you want your question answered, all you got to do is go down and click the link below. It'll get you a copy of my ebook. It's free. It'll get you on my mailing list. You'll have my email address. Shoot me a question. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff that I'm still trying to get used to. Also, I got to admit, YouTube, I'm not that great at it. I'm trying to get better. Instagram is where my home is. So, yeah, somewhere up here, my Instagram handle. Definitely follow me on there. I do lots of live Q&As. And don't forget to inquire about my coaching program, which is designed specifically for dog owners who really, truly, sincerely want to have the best relationship possible with their dog. But as always, before you can see any improvement, before you can absorb any information coming from anybody at all, you got to do one thing first, guys. You got to drop your ego before you pick up that leash. See ya.